Hey everybody, it's Baileywiki, and I think this is my favorite session that we do all year. We are looking at the 3D map submissions, and boy, do I have a crew with me today. Hey everybody.
Hey.
Hey, yo.
Hey.
Oh,
Hello,
hi.
hello.
All right, that's a lot of voices. Let me run through them here real quick. One of those voices was Ripper. We've also got from my team Swift and Zephyr, and then it feels like I know we have American Idol here in the US. Do they have the version of American Idol in other countries? So like, do you guys have that in your other countries?
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
we do.
talking
We do.
about?
We have
Okay,
We
well,
don't.
this is kind of like that because we have two former winners that have actually been on the design team here for some time. So we've got Sevro and Violet. Hey, gang.
Hey, yo.
Hi.
And if you guys have not seen the stuff that Severo and Violet have been doing the last couple of months, they are like pushing the boundaries of all this stuff. They're great artists, great at just scene composition and everything else. And so I thought, hey, let's get the whole gang together and talk through and look at all this good stuff that came out for this contest. And we do it twice a year, I think, is kind of where we're landing. This is sort of the summer contest for the 3D contest. So with that, Swift, you've got a few artists to walk us through. And I think we're going to go artist by artist, and then you're going to kind of have us look at some of these. Where are we starting? Who are we looking at here?
So we're starting with a map creator called Dr. Albee, and they've put in 3 maps for the competition. This map we're looking at here, the medieval streets, was actually posted before the start of the competition. But like we said last time, we're also looking at maps that happened after the end of the last competition, but before the start of this one. So this is one of those maps. The medieval
Nice.
streets.
Classic medieval street map, useful in a ton of different ways. Looks like it's got good layout. You've got curves or corners that players cannot see around. I like it. Tons of detail. What do you guys think?
I think I really like the texture on the trees seem to
Texture on the
blend
road,
into
did
each
you
other
say?
pretty well. Yeah, the texture on the road seems to
Yeah.
blend together between the cross street really well, which I think is good. And I like how it's set underneath what you're looking at right here, where you have kind of like the road itself, and then the ground that is beneath the actual houses themselves. It seems like a small thing, but that's extra work that's involved to actually set those two textures apart, which is nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I like how usable the map is because it's just a very simple little T junction in a street. It's very kind of clear what's going on, and thus very easy to use in a kind of combat encounter situation. I think. I think I particularly value that sort of thing in maps like this.
No, I absolutely agree. One thing I've been learning recently when making maps is sometimes less is more. Sometimes just having yourself a relatively smaller map where you can have a nice encounter is really nice. Oftentimes, encounters take place in a small area. You don't need a giant map to spread out and sprawl out. And this is kind of perfect to kind of focus everybody's attention in.
Yeah, the only ones
Yeah.
who want large maps are rangers, because that's like their whole value.
Yeah. Or a sorcerer with a fireball, right?
Right. I love
And
it.
what I
This is
like is
great.
that you can easily just turn off particle effects and set a day skybox, and you have basically a completely different map you can use here.
Yeah, that's a great point. You can instantly change this map with like 2 or 3 clicks to a completely different environment.
Love it.
Yeah. I also like how the fog distance is very well measured, so that if you stand at the end of one street, you can barely see what's at the other side. So it
Yeah.
seems like it goes on, and the same happens if you turn the map around. So
Yeah.
I think that's very well done, the attention to detail there, so that it seems like the map is, continuing after that point.
Exactly,
Oh,
yeah. Really
totally.
precisely measured fog.
Very nice. All right, well, let's see what else this artist has. Ooh, very nice.
So the next map from
Very nice.
Dr. Albee is the Corrupted Tree.
Yes, it
Now,
is.
this one is very stylish. This one came in roughly halfway through the competition. So this would have been, the last couple of weeks. And it is very cool, I think. very
Yeah.
kind of
I mean,
evocative here.
immediately, right? Great use of, I think it's shaders on the lighting effects, or these additional particles that are on the lighting effects around the tree, the fog on the ground. That immediately catches your attention. Is really cool looking.
Love the atmosphere
Absolutely,
here.
yeah.
This is really nice. There's a lot of smoke effects. I'm surprised though the map is like working fine apparently, but there is a
Yeah,
lot of like mist effect here.
Yeah.
It is quite difficult to get mist effects that look dense enough to look nice, but also don't slow the thing down. And this is really snappy. Feels absolutely fine to move around in. So that's pretty good work with that.
And
I also
what are
quite
these-
like
these nodules on
wet
the tree. Are
texture on
really
the ground.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Let's find out.
Oh, those are like a
These are
fire shader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fire shader.
they are loot sacks
Oh, loot sacks.
Of course they are.
With a fire shader
Oh, yeah.
applied, I think.
with a fire
Yeah.
shader applied. That's quite clever.
I like
Smart.
it. And yes,
That's
sorry,
very
Scorch,
good.
you had a good point there. The reflectiveness on the ground actually, kind of reflecting the fog and that blue light. It's very
Yes.
nice.
One thing I will say, the blue light it's reflecting is obviously the skybox, which we can't see because of the fog. I
Mhm.
think you might have ideally changed the color of the skybox to maybe better match the gray, but that's a very minor kind of niggle. And of course, it could be intentional that there's supposed to be a blue kind of reflection here.
Yeah.
Makes it look a little bit more ethereal, I think.
Indeed. Love it.
Yeah, once again, I also think it's a really nice encounter map because it's a small, self-contained, but it looks with the fog like it goes on and on after. So I think these kinds of maps are really nice for first-time players or first-time users of 3D maps. So, for example, my players on my games tend to appreciate maps that are more like this, like they are small and you can understand what's going on.
Yeah. This is a map where, like, if you ever watched Critical Role, you can imagine,
Yeah.
you know, dropping right in the middle of the table, and the players immediately understand what's happening, and your eyes immediately drawn to this tree and whatever threats
Absolutely, yeah.
you put
It-
around here. It's good.
It makes me think of The Witcher because there's a scene in that with a big kind of corrupted tree,
Yeah.
which I think is definitely that's a good correlation to have with your map there.
Nice.
And
And there is also a lot of like inspiration for like a role play encounter here. Like the map says like a lot of element you can use to just build a plot around the map
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. It's telling the story, right?
yeah,
great.
that's exactly right. I think when you look at a map and it tells the story for you, that's really important and very cool. And as a sidebar, tactically speaking, I love it when map makers add a little bit of here and there tactically, like this um, tomb here in the middle that players could hide behind or duck behind, or trees.
Mhm.
Little things like that go a long way, which is harder to obtain in 2D, but in 3D, it's easy for players to see that and go, "Oh, I'm going to hide behind this."
Totally.
Absolutely, yeah. That was something we learned at the playtest. No, not the playtest, at the convention last year. And people really appreciated the sort of visual feedback there. All right, so the next artist we'll be taking a look at is Cirranon, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this map is Tirtengr, which I'm probably not pronouncing correctly. But we'll put that up on the screen somewhere, I'm sure. Or the like. But yeah, this is the first map by Cirranon. This was made very shortly after the end of the last competition. So this is a relatively old one. It's probably the oldest one we're going to be showing today. And it's a kind of stylized-ish forest map.
Nice. I wonder what kind of story they were telling with this. And it's going to be interesting to see how this artist progressed over time too. If what I heard right, this is one of the older ones. Looks like a lot of experimenting with shapes and shaders and things like that. And you can see it, like, it looks eclectic, right? There's like stylized trees with non-stylized trees. But I'll bet coming through and kind of replacing some items with others. The core of it seems pretty effective though,
Yeah, I think you nailed it. The general idea and the premise of the map is spot on. You get yourself a great forest scene, this hill leading up to a portal looks great. if we just maybe updated some of the models so the trees match a little bit better, this enormous flower that's in front of the portal here maybe matched the rest of the components a little bit better. And then I think it would make it a little bit more cohesive. But in general, the size and the shape of it looks great.
Yeah, I like the fog, kind of,
Yes.
coming over the hill. It's
It-
it's a good effect.
It definitely feels like they were experimenting with what they can do in 3D canvas.
Yeah.
So I
Great.
think that's good.
Well, let's see how they progress. Let's check out the next one.
All right, this was the next map we're going to look at from Cirranon. This is the Death Wastes, which seems to be a large bridge over some lava in a sort
liking
of
the
dry,
terrain.
cracked map.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
very
is
basic,
pretty stylish
very
looking.
playable, usable, like in some various scenarios. You always find yourself in some like lava lake or something.
Right.
And for some
Absolutely,
reason,
yeah.
there is always a bridge. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Stone
sure.
bridge over lava. Who built this? Who knows? Probably dwarves. Yeah, they like doing that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
And you can use
But
this,
yeah.
and you can focus on the bridge maybe to make like encounters that involve players running, getting to the other side. Maybe there are rocks falling over them. So I think it's really nice because not only you can do encounters here, you can do maybe like a escape or a different kind of event with this map.
Yeah.
Totally.
You got to get across the bridge quickly.
Yeah.
What does the rest of the map look like? I don't know that I have a grasp of what this map looks like in its entirety. Okay, so we've got
The
some
rest
like
of it,
smoldering. Okay, we've got some rocks that
Some-
might need to be adjusted. Maybe there's some kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
maybe they're
this might
supposed
be
to be
using
floating.
the old gravity shader, or they might be intending to float. Yeah, we've just
Okay.
got some kind of rocky terrain using the terrain shader to kind of shade the edges of these cliff bits.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
think the fog
pretty
distance
simple.
is being used here. I think the fog distance could be expanded just a little bit, so you could see
Yep.
a little bit more of the map.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mhm.
might help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
For
it's
true.
good.
sure, yeah.
It's great. I think this one came later, and this artist deployed a few, and yeah, it looks like
Yes.
they're progressing and experimenting and progressing more. So great to see.
So this map here is by our next artist, who is Evil Kabuto, and this is Star Metal Keep, which is a very large exterior map with, a keep at the center of it, on top of a very, very, very tall hill.
Wow. Well, that'd be
That is
fun
a
to
very large
fight
map.
your way up.
Absolutely, yeah. I do love stuff like this, just kind of like siege maps.
I think
There
that's a good
is-
way to look at it. This is a kind of map that might be different than just a regular, first person like encounter map. This could be a siege map. This could almost be a regional map. I think one thing that we're lacking a little bit that we're looking at is maybe more regional type maps. I think Font had a map a couple months ago that was a kind of a regional type map, and this could
Yeah.
almost play that where maybe there isn't a battle going on here. This is an overview of a city that the party is coming across.
Yeah.
That is
Clicking
true,
on a
yeah.
house
The
lets you
scale looks
enter
a bit different.
Yeah, you're right. There's some scale reconciling that would probably need to happen here, but
So yeah, it could be that this is supposed to be a region map, and it's supposed to be more stylized rather than being taken literally. Like this is a town, for instance, rather than just being some shacks.
right.
Yeah,
Makes
this would
sense.
be either a region map or like a siege map where like the detail doesn't really matter that much, right? You kind of care about like the scale and where things are. And I do like
Yeah.
this kind of maps, and I wish I would see more of them because in 3D we don't really care much about scale in terms of performance. Like you can make a map very big; it doesn't really matter. Like it's the detail that takes up all your computational power.
Yeah.
So by having like your map restricted in a small area of like a larger terrain, you have like a lot more of ground to play around, and it doesn't really have any significant costs to render.
That's a big map.
That map's about 1,200, 1,300 feet long, so that's divided by 5. Lots of squares.
It's about 30 turns to get
So-
across.
Yeah, so this map would be really difficult to run in normal Foundry because, it's loading this massive image. But yeah, in 3D, it can just do this sort of thing No problem at all. That's like 1,000
great.
feet across.
Let's see what
So
else
no problem.
we've got.
But no, it's quite nice. All right, then, next one.
Mm,
This is the Caves of Chaos by Evil Kabuto. And it is a very, very dark map, presumably because you're supposed to explore it with torches and the like.
It's got a great
Very
mood to it.
atmospheric.
Can you zoom into one
Oh,
of
yeah.
those rooms?
Absolutely, yes. A very large map, from what I could tell, with a couple of sort of light sources here and there. What I'll do, because this is very atmospheric, but we can't really see anything, is I will turn on a light. This is going to ruin the ambience, but allow us to see.
Wow.
So as you can see, everything
really
is now
opens it up.
brilliantly lit. Oh, yeah.
Really,
That's a pretty large map.
yeah, no, I had no idea
Yeah.
how large the map is.
This is a very classic style of map.
Great visualization of like this really classic old school dungeon.
Definitely, yeah. Like, absolutely huge. Like, to zoom in all the way. Here we go. This is kind of the scale of a player. This is the kind of area they'll see as they creep down the corridor with their torches held high, try to illuminate the place.
I believe this map is inspired from a different map, if I'm not incorrect. Which there's nothing. I think that's great. I think
Yeah.
rebuilding maps in 3D inspired off other ones is an amazing thing to do.
The Caves of Chaos are a kind of classic adventure, yeah.
Yeah, it's from the Keep on the Borderlands module,
very
which
cool.
was like way back in the D&D basic set in the late 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, it really
Very
gives you
old classic.
a great level design and the ability to recreate sometimes or be inspired by old maps. Really, it's kind of fun to see some of the 2D maps come to life too, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's a great way to
Yeah,
learn map
absolutely.
making too.
100%.
Yeah.
And kind of like we saw with the introduction of the other Caves of Chaos map, I think lighting goes such a long way. I mean, if you have yourself some good lighting, that really changes. It kind of brings a map to life, and it really changes the atmosphere, the environment, the feeling that the players have. And I think both of these maps are really playing off that lighting. Obviously, we're lighting it up so we can see everything, but as a
Yeah.
player to come into this, it's going to really set a mood.
And don't you love how the
we turn the
lighting,
lights on.
when you're working with 3 dimensions and you've got different materials and some of them are reflective and some of them are not? I just love playing with the lighting to do that, to like really show off the space and give it a dimensionality that you can't do in 2D at all. You can do certainly lighting, it
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
makes the map in 2D also, but when you have that third dimension, it's a lot of fun.
like how the walls are like bumpy and not completely straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that
That was
gives
pretty
it a
cool.
lot of personality. It looks really nice.
Yeah, this is made with the cave tool from the Dungeon Interiors,
Yes.
which makes
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
walls bumpy.
Mhm.
It's pretty nice. If I have only like one complaint, let's call it, I would have set the texture to repeat less because you can see the pattern of the texture on the walls a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
But
point.
otherwise,
definitely.
it's otherwise great.
Looking pretty good. So this map here is the WonderNet Hub by Rex the Mouse. This was their only map they submitted, and this was actually submitted between the last competition and this one. So it's one of the older ones, and it is one of our few sci-fi maps.
I mean,
Yeah.
for a single map, it's pretty good. Like, what you have to be able to imagine and fit together. How do they make the moving neon stuff work? Like
That's a
those
scroll shader.
Scroll shader, yeah.
Yeah. This is, let me just open up the
with
effects thing.
like an image over it.
Scroll,
Like,
yeah. So that'll be a texture on it,
yeah, okay,
which
that's great.
I'm not actually sure what the
That's really
texture
nice.
is. But with the scroll texture, as it slides.
Like the sci-fi maps, I love seeing these cool uses of some different shaders that it feels like when we are able to play around with them in 2D, we can't play around with them in the same ways. So it's really neat to see these different expressions of these tools.
Yeah, you
Yes.
guys might know I'm a sucker for sci-fi maps. Several of the maps that I put in for the last contest were sci-fi. That's kind of where I love the sci-fi map. So I'm immediately a little biased towards the map. I love seeing a little bit of a sci-fi action. And it's kind of like you were saying. I feel like I feel like the creator here had a vision, and we're seeing it right now. And it's very interesting, very unique, and I think it's a lot of fun, frankly.
Yeah, I think it's
It's-
like if you just isolate pieces of the map, it's you can just like see really good. It's like a really good demonstration of all of the pieces coming together, and
Yeah.
it's good color.
Yeah, there are a
Absolutely.
ton of pieces to this map. Like it's
Yeah.
a ton of stuff in this map. Like even
Oh,
like
yeah,
some
absolutely.
buildings are composed of like multiple parts.
Yeah,
It's like
multiple pieces,
it's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
very
this
cool.
is this cruise ship in the asset library? I don't recognize that. Maybe it
We
is.
do
It
have
is.
quite a lot
Yeah.
of things
Yeah, that
in
one is there. That one is there.
in
We
the
have two
compendium. Yeah,
ships.
Very
We
cool.
have actually
pretty much.
those
Yeah,
ships that are there are all the ships that we have.
Nice.
we definitely need to add more ships. Better, we got another little boat here.
Oh,
Itty bitty
yeah.
little skiff
Little port
with a
yeah,
weird shaped thing, and I guess this counts as a boat too. This thing,
Right.
whatever's
It
going on with
does.
that.
Yeah, the decoration on top. Yeah, it's fun. And I see, and
But
he's
this
got
map's
the portal inside, in front of the like the deck here, the port, which I
Yeah.
presume is like the Stargate. Is how I
Right.
interpret it. I think it's kind of clever.
Seem to be a lot
It's
of portals around the
crazy to
place.
me. It's crazy to me that you enter into like a multi-dimensional Stargate with like a fucking regular boat. And
Yeah.
It looks like
arrive
there's also
here.
like the monorail system goes through some of the
Yeah.
Yep.
extra dimensional
Portals
portals.
too, yeah.
So
And there's like
pick your favorite.
this over here. I have to imagine is like a reception area. You come in through these portals.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
guess.
it's
This has
insane.
gotta
I
be
just
think
thinking
the
about it.
story there is a story here, and I think it's like this hub that connects like multiple like cultures, like different level technologies and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you do see different. You
We've
see
got
like
a
Greek
monorail over here.
culture, or
A lot of
Absolutely,
imagination
yeah.
here.
that's good.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I really like this map. Okay, so this next one is SRHolo, and this is a map called In the Mountain.
I kind of dig it though. Just simple. Again, we've kind of mentioned before. Sometimes simple is good, and if you could set the scene already. This is one of those maps that kind of tells the story for you. Obviously, you have a little bit of a fortress or something going on here inside the cliff. You got a wall you have to get past. Ideally, the assets that we're looking at would match the rock walls and the texture a little bit better. But in general, the concept's there.
Yeah.
And I understand what we're looking at.
I think, yeah, that's kind of important, is being able to understand what you're looking at. Like, you don't need to make every map that you create a masterpiece, obviously. If your players can look at it and go, okay, yep, I can see we've got a fortress at the back, we've got some fortifications here, bad guys are going to come from that direction, presumably, and at the back we've got a little secret passage to escape. I think that's kind of pretty important.
Correct me if I'm
Actually,
wrong, but this would be another good place for the clipping shader too. So as you pan around the map, you could see through the rock.
Mhm.
Would that work?
That would actually work quite well, yeah, because we've got, obviously, made with these, the players won't be able to see back here, but if they pan their camera, it would block them. But if you put the clipping shader on this, then they'd be able to just see directly through it no matter what angle their camera's at. All right, very simple map, very effective. I think I quite like this one, despite its simplicity. Or, well, because of its simplicity.
Yeah, I also like the idea behind it. I remember reading, I don't remember if it was on Discord, but the creator of this map said the idea was that players had to infiltrate inside the fortress, and that's why there's like a secret entrance. So it's not only like you
I see.
have to fend off some enemies, but that you have enemies there, and then you have to infiltrate somehow. And I think that's a really nice concept for a
Oh.
map like this.
Isn't there a little bit of an entrance on the right-hand side there, like a little hole
Yeah.
opening? Yeah.
I think there's a
Which
couple holes.
There is a hole on the back, and I think
On the
it's
back,
intentional.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
oh yeah,
That's
which is
definitely
cool.
intentional.
Yeah.
Which again, I like that. I like it when the map
Yeah.
gives players the ability to think of how are we going to do this, and they can look around and see, oh, what about this?
Also, I don't know why, but the walls and the rocks, it kind of remind me to Warcraft's Ogrimmar entrance.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Kind of red colored rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did recolor these rocks.
Yeah, that's an underrated tool you can use. Just tint any asset in 3D canvas to whatever color you like.
It's another
yeah.
one of the things that's a little thing, but change the color, it changes the mood, changes the scene, and just like Violet said, just by adding that orange color, you're you're right. Feels like Orgrimmar.
Yeah, there's probably a design session that we should do just talking about making coherence with materials and colors. You just get those two things right, and a map just starts to make sense.
So the next artist we'll be looking at is DigiDM, who entered in the last competition as well. Put these maps out between the last competition and this one, and this is the Samurai Home.
Nice little Japanese
is-
garden action, which we don't really have the assets for, but they figured out how to do it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's great.
I think this is all custom made. Like it's all made piece by piece.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if I highlight things, you can see like individual roof panels and that sort of thing. This is pretty cool.
Wow.
I think that's exactly
And
the
these
thing that I would point
are-
out here is the customness, the handmade aspect of it, which I think I personally really appreciate. When you go into the asset browser, which there's a million options to choose from, which is amazing, but sometimes you're looking for something very specific, and sometimes you got to make it yourself, and that is a little challenging to see somebody do that. Look at this koi fish swimming around here.
Yeah,
I just saw that.
there's a stocked koi pond in here. This is great.
That's
And so
amazing.
and there's interiors, it looks like, to these buildings.
Yeah, and
This
he's
is
also
right.
used the clipping shader as well. So if I take this token and move it in,
Fantastic. Look at
then
that.
That's
the
great.
camera clips it out until it actually gets clipped out by the levels
Wow.
thing.
And a samurai. Oh, so good.
Yeah, where did that samurai come from? That's great. And
That must be from the token collection.
Yeah.
oh, that's a good call.
Yeah, the samurai will
that's
be
right.
from the token collection.
Yeah.
Looking
And,
pretty solid.
and this is a small thing, but I appreciate it. He specifically added the clipping shader onto the roof tiles only and not the walls, so it gives a little bit of that, like it's only taking out that specific portion, and I
Yeah.
think that looks nice. It gives a nice, clean, polished look, in my opinion, which I think is nice.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can kind of explore the interior of the place pretty effortlessly without having to worry about making sure
Animated
you've got
door.
levels set up or...
Nice animated door.
Oh, yeah. The sliding
like
doors,
it.
of course. Everyone
Yeah.
loves them.
Perfect.
Classic.
Again, animated doors, it's a small thing, but in my opinion, any animation brings a map to life just a little bit more. So that's very cool. And I love these flagstones here that lead from the bridge into the main center area. Again, a small thing, but little things like that kind of add up. I think it's very cool.
There are a
I
ton of small details here, like the
Small
particles on
details.
the tree.
Mm.
Like even the,
Oh, yeah.
the particle on
Look
the
at that.
trees. If you look at the double doors that you opened before, they open like internally, so they open on each other and they don't like overlap or go outside something.
Mhm.
Those two ones, yeah. There's
think
a
it's just
lot
like
of detail here.
Just like Ripper said earlier, sometimes it's the detail that really kind of brings a map to life and really shows the skill that's involved in it. Little things like the particles coming off the trees, the koi fish swimming around the pond, those little details really, really kind of make a map stand out to me.
I don't know what happens if they design this where you could turn the lights down, but I could see this at night with some really effective lighting around it would be really magical also. And that's where
Absolutely.
you'd want your ninjas to attack, frankly.
Obviously.
This is gorgeous. We were talking about like seeing how artists progress and everything, and
Mhm.
I think from the last competition, DigiDM had a lot of like really cool map ideas and did some really neat things, like the Temple Escape map that he had the rolling boulder trap using kind of the door setup. Like that was really clever, and you can see like it's so polished and customized now. It's like he's really grown a lot, and he was already doing some really cool stuff before.
Yeah, again, speaking as a guy who competed in the last competition, anytime I saw DigiDM drop a map, I got a little nervous. So, because I know he knows his stuff.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Dig it.
So this is the third map by DigiDM that we're looking at for the competition, the Samurai Pagoda Temple. And this is another sort of Asian-styled one, as you can tell. The first thing I really like to mention is the use of the height map on the scene surround. So we've got all this terrain well outside the map, because you can see here, that this map is only actually this big. Here's the corner right here.
Yep.
Yeah,
You've just got
immediately I
hills in the
love that.
background.
Yeah, it's very sometimes very difficult to make a map and have it seamlessly blend in to the surroundings. It's why you see the fog shader a lot, which is a great use. But sometimes making a map blend into some infinite surroundings seamlessly and look really good can be difficult to do, and I think that's done really well here.
Definitely.
Great, look at all this custom work. I mean, feels like DigiDM learned some stuff from the last map and then unleashed it here.
Maybe some minor issues with levels here. Well, probably on my end, to be honest.
Is better roofs enabled?
Good question. Is that no?
Hey,
Okay, so now that we turned on better roofs, hey, look at that.
Oh, hey,
Beautiful.
Just
the
like
roofs are
design.
better. Funny that.
and combining not only the occlusion in the roofs, but also some clipping shader as well. So he's mixing the two together, which is great.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
to see that
Looking good.
occlusion.
This is a very complex map. I have to say that this map, I don't know to what extent, but it was trimmed down because it was actually just like too big to upload to the
Is
competition.
Is every step there actually a separate object?
Yeah.
Probably.
There's a lot of custom.
I don't
work
think
here.
so.
Sure.
The kit bashing
I think it's
that went into this is
actually-
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just how the clipping shaders going. It's making me think that it's
Yeah.
separate
Yeah,
objects.
make it
but-
look separate. Yeah,
But still, the kit bashing here is on display here is pretty incredible.
just
Yeah.
cheap. We can fly now.
Where
There
are
you
we? Oh, here.
Look at that. That's great. Yeah. And just like Ripper was saying, the occlusion work to get these levels to work this way, it does require a lot of work and you have to be very specific about a lot of things. And so I know there's a lot of work that goes behind getting those levels to work properly, especially on what is there, 4 floors here? I think
Yeah.
I've done 3 floors before. Anything past that, I'm like, I'm done. This is too much.
Do you
Yeah,
guys
it's
find
very
yourselves?
complicated.
Yeah.
The shader can get you only so far.
Yeah.
The clipping shader can only get you so far.
Oh,
There is a basement as well.
And we got a basement here.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So it's
I thought it was
5
a bit
floors.
suspicious.
One
Yeah.
floor, 2 floors,
Almost-
you can like kind of get away with just like slapping on the clipping
Yeah.
shader. But more floors, you will have to do a lot of manual work to get it sorted.
Do you guys
Yeah.
find yourselves
I thought
using
that big
mass
stone
edit
base looked a bit.
to use mass edit to like change? Oh, secret entrance, nice.
Very cool. Very cool secret
Yeah.
entrance. Yes, I use mass edit all the time now that I've learned how to use it properly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a really great map tool even.
It's a very technical map, and I love to see all the custom assets because I know how difficult, just like Zephyr was saying, kit bashing, it takes a lot of additional effort. So, even these symbols above the door on the side here,
Yeah.
like that, I'm assuming that, that's got to be some custom made stuff there because I don't recognize. Yeah, that's definitely something probably use. I often use the
Oh, it's
dungeon.
archways flat.
Yeah, those are the
they
archways.
flatten them out.
Yeah.
See, that's very creative. When you can get creative with the assets and make unique things out of them, I think it's very cool.
Cool. All right. What's next?
So this is the next lettuce map, the Forgotten Vault, and this one straight away looks really cool
This is nice.
Super stylish.
with these glowing mushrooms. I think under some water.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah,
And we have
Very,
lights
very cool.
there. Lights there to make the mushrooms glowing, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This is like
this
the
is a
power
big
of
step
lights
up.
Very cool.
because
Yeah.
like
This
well,
is
you can
a
see
very
how many
big
lights we've
step
got
up.
here.
Yeah.
And that's very cool.
Like you could turn off all these lights and it would just kind of not have the same effect, but
not
with
nearly
them
the
on.
same.
that looks
That
very
adds
nice.
a lot. Yeah.
Something I
So we're
also
looking
like,
at
I'd
some
like to
kind of
note-
throne room, from what I can tell.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're not sure if this is the entrance or the exit because we've got this little cave through a hole in the wall, which is
Oh, man,
a wonderful
come
piece
on.
of detail here.
Mhm.
But there's like a throne here with bones scattered around the place,
Love
and then
it.
this descent into water over here. So we're not
Ooh,
quite
so
sure.
the players actually have to go
if-
underwater.
Yeah.
And I assume, is that a vision screen
Yeah.
that square?
Yes. So that's that sort of thing that's useful for if you're making a multi-leveled map and you've got a bit where your players are up high. They might see over the map and thus get sight on the whole thing. But you
Yeah.
can just put a block out here that they wouldn't normally be able to see anyway, and that'll stop all of that. Something you can do that Lettuce doesn't seem to have done is if you set the opacity of the material to 0,
There you go.
then it will be invisible, but it'll still block sight. So
Oh,
that'll
great.
just look a little bit nicer for when you're looking around.
Nice.
Cool.
Wow. So
But yeah,
really
cool.
expansive map.
Huge. Great level
Uh,
design.
Yeah. Nice big levels where
Absolutely.
you can have room for battle, and then choke points and narrow hallways.
Oh no, this
Look
is
at that.
cool.
Yeah, look at this. Look at
A
this
little
floor
crack
through
in the
floor.
floor here, leading down to
Yeah.
another passageway.
Can we drop a
Okay.
Yeah, there is
token
a ton
down
of underwater area here, so maybe
Okay.
you can have an adventure and have a way to like remove the water.
Let's get Gaius down there.
Look at
Oh,
that.
maybe a bit too far. All right, yeah, a little bit too far. There we go. You can do
Oh,
it, Gaius.
but
Nope.
we clearly
Yep.
have clipping shader. I think we have some occlusion too. Definitely a mix of the two here. Oh yeah, we have occlusion on individual tiles and clipping shader.
Mhm.
Oh, this
being
is the
applied.
clipping shader
Yeah.
with camera, so it's
There
not
it is.
occlusion.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see, yep. So it will
Oh
actually
yeah,
just
yeah.
de-render things as they get in the way.
And here's one thing that I noticed on this map when I looked down on my own that I really like. So if you zoom in on the this stool here floating, or this piece of
Yeah.
wood floating,
Oh, it's
it's
floating.
Yeah, it's all
it's
floating.
floating in the top of
It's
the
so
water.
good.
He's added.
Oh, and it's
Oh, and it
animated.
moves too.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
That's so
what he's
good.
added is an orbit shader here on a very minor detail to make it do this kind of slow orbit that makes
That's
it
so
look like
cool.
it's floating, which I thought was very clever.
Wow.
That's
That's incredible
very
right
slick.
there.
Yeah, I gotta say, I
Yeah, it's
like
a
it.
great map with a lot of detail.
Hmm.
Like this is a multi-session kind of map.
See all these pieces
Yeah,
of that
Yeah, all
floating
these
orbit
underwater
shader too,
chambers.
which I
Yeah.
think is really nice. And one
that's so
thing I
good.
really like about this map too that I'll just point out is that it's just using predominantly the, I can't recall the name of it, these dungeon tile set that we have. And you can make a
Yeah,
really great map using the same set, and it looks amazing. You don't need to mix and match things. Sometimes you just use the set, you can build off of it, and boom, here you have an amazing map.
maybe some issue with that there because I'm a DM. These here, we think they might be illusory walls. They're sort of glowing. It's a bit hard to say. They do clip out of the way. But yeah, they might be secret doors. Yeah. Can't seem to click them. That might just be a technical issue on my side, so we can't say for sure.
You can
But
try
some
to
kind of secret door.
move through with arrows. If you can move through with arrows,
yeah.
that means it has no collision.
It has no
There we
collision. Oh yeah, so it is. So a token walking up to it would just see that as a wall, but they can walk through it.
Yep.
And that's fine. That's pretty cool. Let's have a little look over here. A very, very secret place in the corner. And we have a whole other half of the map over here.
This map
Man,
is
this is just a
massive. I'm
really
surprised it
expansive
runs
place.
so well.
And if I recall correctly, and he might have this posted somewhere, there's a little bit of a story behind this map too. You see that candle oblong there is jammed within the gears, and I think there's a little
Yeah.
story here where that if you remove that, the gears open up, and that gives you access to a certain area, maybe the throne room where we started. I'm not sure, but so there is some story here too, which I appreciate. A little bit of a story built into a map.
Cool.
Oh, it's a great time to check
Absolutely.
out. If you right click on a scene and click show notes,
In the scene.
scene notes.
Yep.
And you'll have to probably found it somewhere, but yeah.
Forgotten Vault.
I didn't even know this was a feature.
There we go.
Aha!
Look at that.
It's a whole new game. Your goal is to reach the throne room, so if we'd have read this, we'd have known that the throne room was actually the exit. Journey is filled with obstacles. Ah, yes.
Great
The
map.
throne
Nice
room's
big
gate
map.
is jammed with a metal torch holder stuck in the mechanism. Ah,
Yep.
yeah. That is very cool. With an adventure hook built in.
So, yeah. Again, just another. I love that adventure hook built into the map. You know, it actually saves the DM a little bit of time if he's not sure where the next session is going to go. He might run into this and go, "Hey, I can work this in," and then boom, you know, half of his work is done already.
Yeah, you can run this map in basically
Absolutely, yeah.
any campaign. Like if you need a placeholder to prepare
Yeah.
some content, just like, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice work.
I think that's definitely one of my favorites so far.
All right, I think we've got
All
more
right.
from Lettuce still, right?
We got a lot more.
Oh my god!
And this is the Courthouse in Tornado map by
Wow.
Lettuce, and it does appear to be
Fantastic.
the courthouse has been caught in a bit of a tornado.
Yes.
That's
This is a
awesome.
great map. I
off.
love
I
it.
really like the creativity of this.
That's very cool.
I was
This
not.
is
That's when I showed up.
absolutely.
This is
What is
totally
that
wild.
tornado? Let's find out.
I was
Like,
like
even the trees are like
Yeah.
violently bending in the wind. It's great.
It's a smoke model.
Huh.
With an orbit shader that's on overdrive.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That is
Here,
great.
just-
It's not easy getting the timing of all of those
Yeah.
orbit shaders down. I mean, the physics make sense, and that's like really complicated.
Yeah.
That
even
looks
Yeah, the
great.
ones on the
colors.
outside are going really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's just
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah,
Very
actually,
cool.
Wind
not,
shader on the trees.
so maybe
Why
it's
are
not
these
only the
clickable?
orbit shader, because the orbit shader, everything starts like rotating at the same time. So maybe it's shader plus idle or plus something else.
Oh, that's a good point. Actually, that's true.
Wow.
So, because they're
I
all kind of
think-
going at different times.
Yeah.
I think it's just
wait,
orbit
I think
shader
they're
because if
moving
you set
vertically
like
a
a
little
different
bit.
rotation at the beginning, they
Yeah.
will just like start from a different point.
Okay.
I think I think it's just orbit shader on like different like angles.
I see.
Pretty good.
Great story. It's
Let me
telling.
just check something really quickly. Courthouse in Tornado. Because I've noticed that parts of the map can be right-click to transform into runes, altering the environment dynamically. Yeah, I was noticing that these were clickable. You can. Oh, right. So the ones floating around the tornado
Oh,
are
yeah.
actually.
You can
They're
destroy it, and it
but
gets
you can-
added. That's awesome.
What?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
very
cool.
smart.
That's
Are
incredible.
they
So you
actually
right-click
added? No
things.
way.
Yeah,
No,
he
they-
actually
they-
added
Yeah,
pillars
because
by
I was
doing
noticing that they looked a
That's
little bit
awesome.
transparent. Like if I right-click these, it's kind of hard to see, but you can now see that one of them is invisible-ish.
Oh, that's true.
So when you turn
Yeah.
the tile off,
Insane.
it turns the one that's orbiting on.
That's
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's
so good.
bits of it are being ripped up out of the ground in real time.
Oh, I love
Nice.
that.
So,
That's
you know,
great storytelling. That's awesome. Actually,
that's very cool. I really like that.
That's smart.
All right.
Nice. Another great one from Lettuce.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Bell's Forge, which was published by Ilcom 94 about halfway through the competition. And this is a pretty cool looking hellish forge area, I think, using some negative space here.
You know, this is the kind of map where I would bring the lighting all the way down and then put some spotlights inside that room, and that would really set it off.
Yeah, absolutely. I do
Definitely,
like I like the staircase in the center that leads down to this area. Kind of gives me a Diablo vibe,
Mhm,
you know?
yeah.
Does feel very Diablo-y. There's a red cube over there. There was a custom asset on this map, but we think it's probably not that important, especially because it's very small. So, not sure what that is, but we'll just have to judge the map without it. What I quite like is that we've got this square map, and then this map has been cut out from it.
Yep.
So it looks very much like, an underground kind of place. It's been hewn out of the stone
Mhm.
in irregular shapes, which
That's
is
good.
very stylish. So this map here is the Sewer Hideout by UwU the Black, and this is one of the maps using V12 of the recent competition.
Nice.
Excuse me.
Small map makes perfect sense. Something crazy's coming out of that hole. I'm sure of it. Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
I like it.
I
Great
do
little
like
service.
Great map,
um,
nice and simple.
simple but effective, yeah. And it's got that very evocative thing in the middle there, the well leading down into the darkness, which has always been a favorite of the kind of D&D style adventures. Like stuff with the Underdark and all that sort of thing. Very cool map. Simple but effective. So this one is iamollie, who has made the Coffin Maker shop here. And we have this building on its own in the middle of the street here. Looks like it's using a lot of the clipping shader.
I have to say the intrigue is established.
Now, this is I don't know if this is intentional, but I quite like this like side-in look at the room, because obviously you've got the roof above, but looking in through the side, it just that looks pretty stylish, I think.
Yeah, it gives you an idea of the space.
It looks
I
like
will note that there is
peeking into
also
the street.
the levels view slider on the sidebar.
Oh, so there is, yeah. That's probably what they intend to use. There we go, yeah. So they're using the level slider on the top right there, the very faint kind of slider there to cut off different levels of the building, and then the clipping shader to clip out the walls so that you can see your token a little bit better there. And this is quite a kind of tight and claustrophobic kind of place.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
It is a coffin maker.
And it's a lot of coffins. They're not stored very efficiently.
Yeah, very
2 out of
detailed
10.
space, which I like.
Yes. Oh, sound effects on the door.
Sound
Very
effects on-
nice.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, these stairs look totally custom,
slide up.
if I'm not
You want to-
mistaken, which is kind of nice.
There we go.
Yeah, this map is really nice. My only complaint is that it's slightly off grid, so I would just like disable the grid on the map.
Yeah, it is a little awkward to move around with arrow keys as a result, but really detailed, really cool space.
And I would say anytime there's only one square or one square available, like a small hallway, those are just hard to navigate. So making
Definitely,
making
yeah.
them a little bit bigger.
I think there is value to making claustrophobic spaces, but generally for playability, you want to make places that are kind of surprisingly large compared to what you'd think they would be.
Right.
If you look at old games like Neverwinter Nights, the interiors in that game are gigantic, but they look fitting because, that's just kind of the way it's working with the external camera.
Good. Yeah,
What is
little
this
painting
picture on
the wall.
what is that picture on the wall? I don't recognize that.
How did
I
that happen?
think that's like, is that like an asset from like Forge that like got through somehow?
Oh, is
Wikipedia
it?
or something?
Oh,
It is from Wikipedia.
Oh, it's
Hey,
from Wikipedia.
It's
Yeah,
just
that's
coming
so
up from
good.
the internet. Great.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do
All right.
that. You could do that?
yeah, you can.
and
I think it's
Forge.
supposed to scrub those links, but I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good use of it.
Hey, if it
A
works, I
classical
like
piece
it.
of art straight off of Wikipedia. Yeah. Very nice. So yeah, this is the house wagon, which, as might imply, is a wagon that's a house, or a house that's a wagon, being dragged across the countryside by 4 golems, which is pretty cool. And I think the most interesting thing about this map is that
There
you
it
can make
goes.
it go
Look at that.
and have these
This is
golems.
also known as a fantasy RV.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this
very
is so
cool.
this is so fascinating. There's so many aspects to this that I'm not even sure how he did. I don't know how the golems were made. I'm not sure how the animation is done. It's very impressive.
Is
Definitely. Yeah.
is all of the trees and everything scrolling?
Yes, everything is
Yep.
moving except the wagon.
This is
It's
breaking
yeah,
my
kinda
brain.
crazy.
How?
Mhm.
It
Okay.
is done with trickery. So the wagon
the
has an
wagon is
interior
still-
and it's completely usable as a map, and you don't have to worry about, physics or anything. Maybe occasionally the floor breaks slightly, but that's probably a technical
Wow.
issue on our side.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, DigiDM tried to do a map similar to this in the last contest, where it
Yeah.
was a scrolling map, and this implementation is done very well. I'm not even 100% sure how it's done. I would have to dig into the map to see exactly how the animation is set up, and the
You can
walls, the texture being created underneath the golems. I don't even know how you made the golems, frankly. So there's a lot going on here that's really interesting.
Wow.
can we get a
Amazing.
look at the interior?
Yeah.
I guess you
Is
need
that
to
a slider
stand
also?
like
It looks like it's got a slider.
Yeah, we've got a slider. So I do believe he's using some of the clipping shader. So
Yeah.
this might look a little.
I saw his video on YouTube, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and put a stop to everything, and then
The
we'll.
golem sleep.
pop
I mean, you
up.
can have it moving, like the map itself is still, like the wagon is still.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the realism factor.
suppose
You want to
we'll-
get
Up
everybody
there,
sick?
so that was all. Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're back in the house here, and you can kind of see we've got the slider going on, but we also have the clipping shader too.
Yeah. That is pretty cool. Could you start it moving again? Because I think like if you put someone in the
You ride along right with it.
like the living room area there. And that's a great mood, I think. You know, you put your tokens down there in like the lounge, and then you've just got the countryside scrolling by. I think that's really cool and really effective.
There's also some pretty neat extra
Wait,
bits
what?
here.
Biome switches.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
What?
Uh-huh.
Jeez. Oh, so you can travel
Where do you want to go,
the
guys?
world in this RV. This is
Oh my
great.
Yeah.
god.
We got a
I'm
total
glad
of
you
5
looked there
biomes.
now because I wouldn't have noticed that.
Yeah.
Snow
What?
biome, the best type of biome.
Yeah,
course.
in the scene notes, he's got some descriptions of everything and said there's biome switches on the table. And I didn't mess around with it earlier, but I knew it was coming. So
Is that a
Pretty
speed
wow.
control on the bridge there as well?
Yeah, you
yes,
can
and
make
then
it
you
go
can
faster.
Speed it up and
Jeez.
oh,
Oh,
I'm not sure what I just did.
Wow,
but-
this is
Oh, yeah.
crazy.
yeah, speed increased. Yep. There you go.
they do be marching.
Wow.
That's
Can we
pretty
switch
cool.
to
Really
the
incredible.
desert so we can see the other biome and we don't?
Oh, yeah,
those
I guess
golems
it's
are trucking
speed.
along.
I think we
Why is it a bit
also there's a
confusing?
lava
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So we got the desert,
Incredible.
and we've got a lava
That's a
field
lot
as
of
well.
effort to make all those
Yeah.
pieces work like that.
And we're
That's
only on the
cool.
first floor. There's 3 of these things.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's like the downstairs and the upstairs, and I think the top as well. There's like a fully stocked kitchen in there.
So you could be used. We'll go and use
It's
the
like
slider
the engine
here.
room.
The engine room, yeah.
Hmm.
Very comfy.
What in the world?
This is definitely like if you show this to any party of players, like, hey, do you want like a land ship as a base? Nobody's going to say no to that. That's
There's a
looking
hot
absolutely
tub.
We
great.
got a hot
Of course, there's a hot tub.
Come on.
We got a hot tub, yeah.
Incredible. There's so much
Like this
detail
map
in
is
this interior,
technically
too.
insane. Is technically insane.
It's
Now that's a
It's
cool place to
technically-
put
I
your
don't
desk,
even-
right up at the front.
technically I'm not even fully confident. I don't even know how it's done. Frankly, I would have to dig into this map to figure out how this is. I understand the scrolling, but there's a lot going on here that is really impressive. I really like it.
And it runs really
I think
well.
it's just
very
intricately well put together
Yeah.
levels, I think.
Well, and then
Okay.
if
So
you
it would have
pop
been a
into
lot
the
of work to get this all set up.
active tiles, oh, that's the wrong thing. But yeah, there's some
All right,
pretty
we could-
complicated active tile setups and everything too. It very impressive, very beautiful.
All right. Well, so now it's time to decide, gang. Are you guys ready? We're
Yeah.
gonna deliberate, and then well, how do you guys want to do it? I'll
Well,
go above the table here. I think what we should do is just talk through it, and we won't record or we won't publish
Yeah.
that part, and then we'll just talk about what we decided.
yeah, that's great. I want a couple
Yeah.
minutes to chat. So
Okay, great. So we're gonna go and deliberate for a few minutes, and we'll come back and announce the winners.
While we're deliberating here, just a quick reminder that you can access all of the maps from the competition through the 3D Canvas Community Map Browser. You can find this with 3D Canvas installed in your Scenes directory. There's a big button that says Browse Community 3D Maps with the 3D Canvas block logo there. Clicking on that is going to open this great interface. Up at the top, it'll tell you if there's an upcoming competition and when it starts and ends. And then you can see all the different maps that have been submitted. This is going to include all of our competition submissions, including those that we were not able to spend the time to feature in this particular video, as well as any other community maps that have been submitted. If you want to grab any of these, you just need to click on the download button here, and then it's going to download it directly to your Scenes directory. So I have another copy of this Abandoned Tailor's Workshop here. You can then, of course, view the scene as normal. And if you have a scene that you want to submit to the community map browser, whether that's for a competition or just to share with the community, you can right-click on the map and then select Share Scene. And this is going to have the map name, which is going to correspond to the scene name, a secret key, which is used for actually editing the map in the future. You can change your author name, and it's going to automatically select the asset packs that were found to be used on the map for you. You can also manually select those to make sure those are all tagged appropriately. You can specify an image URL for something that you've loaded up to Imgur or another website. And then you can finally put in a description of your map and click Share, which will then put it on the community map browser. Again, you can do that whether that's a part of a competition submission for you, or you just want to share it with the community. If you have issues with any of the maps that you download through the community map browser, you may need to be on a different version of Foundry. For example, some of these maps were made in version 12, and they will only work on version 12. Though the V11 ones should work in either V11 or V12. Also, make sure that you do have all of the appropriate 3D Canvas resources, such as the Mapmaking pack and the Token Compendium, and if necessary, the Baileywiki 3D pack. You also want to make sure that you've got things like Better Roofs installed and enabled, so that you don't have funny moments like we did earlier where we had it off and roofs weren't playing quite nice. Now, with all that said, let's go ahead and get back to announcing our winners.
So we've had to think about it. We've conferred as to who we think should be the winners of the various categories we've got here, the Mapmaking Competition 2024. And to not beat around the bush too much, the best body of work, by quite a long margin, is going to be Lettuce, with all of his absolutely excellent maps. We all agreed pretty much immediately that, yep, that was going to be the one that won it.
Bravo.
Each
Good
one of
job,
his maps
Lettuce.
are great.
Good job.
Yeah,
Very
body
good.
of work
Lettuce.
requires, it's sustained amount of creativity, playability, and all the other stuff in a large body of work, and Lettuce definitely came through.
Yeah. So I'll just say, like, that was a category I won in the last contest, and I understand it's the consistency of the maps that you put out. You're putting out a large amount of maps that everyone can understand and can play. I think that requires a lot of work and a lot of effort. Well done, Lettuce.
Yeah, really great work.
Absolutely. Then the next category we're going to talk about is the best use of the clipping shader. Now, this is it's not a particularly new feature, but it's the one that lets you remove things between your camera and your token to let you see into maps better. And we've decided that the best use of the clipping shader was DigiDM for his Samurai Home and Samurai Pagoda Temple maps. Either one of those, because they both used it absolutely great. Those maps were very, very complicated and made up of lots of small pieces, but the use of the clipping shader just so elegantly made it seem like such a simple map and was so easy to play that we couldn't not really give him the prize for that one.
Exactly. Like you said, Swift, he used the clipping shader so well that it made the map look so much simpler than it actually was.
Yeah, and just to give an idea of the conversation, really good maps too, like contenders for other prizes in the same contest. So but we wanted to make sure these prizes got spread around the right way. And so DigiDM, we've seen DigiDM's work before. We've seen the progress and just really awesome stuff. So, but yeah, as far as using the clipping shader, good technical implementation of it.
Yeah,
Very clean use of the shader, and like a very good combination with occlusion and like other elements, like to not just use it by itself, but where it counts more.
Nice. Congrats, DigiDM. Great work.
Congrats to DigiDM. And so the last category will be the best map, which, despite sounding the simplest, was the one that promotes the most discussion. So what we've decided to do, after much talking, is to grant the best map to Dr. Albee for the Corrupted Tree map. Just because it's a very stylish map, it's got great mood to it, it's also very playable and very straightforward. So it's the kind of scene that any player would be able to get use out of, and any DM would be able to get use out of as well. It's very clean, easy to understand, easy to play on, and looks great too.
And I'll say there was even deliberation on which of Dr. Albee's maps was the best map. So just really good, consistent design work and composition and everything else.
Yeah, I would say a great example of, just putting the right amount of effort into a map that really set the scene for everyone. I even pointed out something very simple on the tree, these little fiery nodules on the tree that you made. And little things like that go a long way. I thought it was very cool. Well done.
Yeah, really great.
Now
Now we did have one that we really deliberated on. Yeah.
Yeah, so the reason that the best map was so deliberated on, because there was a fierce contender, and that was, of course, the House Wagon by iamollie, which we absolutely loved, because it's a great map, it's really well put together, it's really technically impressive, and it's the kind of thing that we think would work absolutely beautifully for the right campaign. So
And so I think we've decided it's honorable mention for the House Wagon, but we think it's kind of inspired us to create the for the next contest, a third category, which is really just technical implementation, being able to make something with that level of technical prowess. I mean, most people looking at that map wouldn't understand unless you've tried to make maps like that before. It's pretty astounding. So we'd like to create some room for that kind of submission in the next competition, because that's that impressive.
Yeah,
yeah.
I just really want to point out here, this map was so technically impressive. I think, laying in my bed looking at Reddit, and the little video that you posted on the Foundry subreddit popped up, and I actually jumped out of my bed and I ran upstairs and I downloaded the map because I wanted to see, because it didn't make sense to me. I was like, how does this work? This doesn't make any sense. It was so technically intricate that it really caught my curiosity, which, again, like Baileywiki said, is really like inspiring a new category for us. I think that's really interesting.
And even I know exactly how that works, for obvious reasons. It's insane to put it together. Like, even if you know how the pieces work to make that kind of map work, the actual skill to put it together is very, very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive.
Well, I just have to say, I'm going to close this off here, gang. Thanks everybody for joining. For those of you, so you'll see an edited version of this. And if you're a map maker and you're wondering why we didn't cover a particular map or didn't talk about it, this was a 3-hour session. So we went through all the maps in detail. And so, if you have questions for us, leave them in the comments. But congratulations to DigiDM, Lettuce, Dr. Albee, great work. To all the other contributors to the contest, whether you knew you were in the contest or not. great job. Really impressive work. And thanks for participating in it. With that, thanks team for showing up and going long, and for putting the time in, and really loving what you guys are coming up with, and looking forward to the next release. And in the meantime, thanks everybody. We'll see you at the next contest, and have fun making your maps.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you everybody.
Thanks everyone.